Hello, third graders. I live in a family with a lot of people with very strong personalities. So, a running joke that we have in our family is about how our needs measure up to other people's needs. So, there's four people in my family. So, a lot of our running jokes like kind of focus around things where we say like, well, right now I'm 1 out of 4, or right now I'm 4 out of 4, or right now I'm 2 out of 4. So when we're doing that, we're actually using a fraction to describe our position of importance in the family at the time. So it is a joke, but believe it or not, you use fractions all the time, every day. And it actually is really important for you to learn about fractions. We use them a lot of times. I use them probably every single day when I cook. If you go into your kitchen, there might be some measuring spoons or there might be some measuring cups, and they'll show on there fractional amounts of a whole cup of something. So that's if you have cups. If you have measuring spoons, they're showing fractional amounts of, say, a teaspoon or even a tablespoon if you have those kind of special measuring spoons. So, fractions are really important for you to learn about and understand. So that's our job today, is to just start learning about what fractions are. So our math focus today is I can recognize that fractions can be used to show parts of a whole, parts of a set, or points on a number line. So fractions can be used to show lots of different things, and we're going to be examining that over the first couple of days in our fraction unit. So let's begin by talking about what fractions are. So, a fraction is a way to describe a part of a whole or a part of a group by using equal parts. There's a lot of words, and there's a lot of the word part over and over again. So, let's read it one more time. A fraction is a way to describe a part of a whole or a part of a group by using equal parts. So, first thing I want to look at is I want to look at this definition of equal parts. Oh no, we're having the glaring part again. So, when we are talking about fractions, we're talking about figures that are divided up into equal parts. So, let me bring it a little closer here. So this one does a good job right here. It's showing this circle, which is divided up into 3 equal parts, and this rectangle, which is divided up into 3 equal parts. And so equal parts are parts of an object or group that have been divided equally into pieces. So say if I had this circle right here and I had a line through it, this figure would not be divided up into equal pieces. I'm pretty sure you guys know what that's all about because you have been dividing figures up into equal pieces since you were in kindergarten. So a fraction is something that's divided up into equal pieces, and that's really important to remember. So let's look at a fractional amount. So one of the first fractions that we're going to be looking at right here is 1/3. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about fraction vocabulary in our next lesson. But right here, this is what's called a numerator. It's the number on the top. It shows it what the numerator does is the numerator shows the amount of the fraction that we're talking about. So it's 1 out of 3 pieces are shaded. So you can see over here when I drew this picture of the fraction that 1 out of 3 pieces are shaded. So this is what's called, the number on the top is called a numerator. The number on the bottom is called a denominator. This line right here is called a fraction bar. So we can pronounce this fraction one of a couple of different ways. One common way that you pronounce this fraction is 1/3. So say it with me, 1/3. Another way you can pronounce this fraction, but it's a lot less common, is say 1/3. So when we pronounce this fraction, what we're really talking about is this picture. You want to make the picture in your mind. We're talking about 1/3 parts of a whole. So you have to remember that when we're talking about this fraction, 1/3, it's not a whole number. It's part of a whole number. It's 1/3 parts of a whole number. So 1/3, 1/3, and there's a nice picture. I could draw this fraction a lot of different ways. Say I could also draw 1/3 by making a rectangle is usually the easiest way for me because I have trouble with drawing. So I could draw that, and I could fill in also 1/3 3 pieces. Now, I'm hoping that this figure is set up in equal parts, but because I'm hand drawing it, I can't really guarantee that. Another way to show a fraction is a point on a number line. So I have a number line right here, and we're going to be talking about this a lot more in our unit. It's divided up into 3 equal pieces. The first is 1/3, the second is 2/3, and the next is 3/3. So I put a dot on the 1/3 mark, showing that this is a fraction of this, that 1/3 would be right here. Now, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, and we're going to be talking about this later. 3/3 also equals 1 whole, okay? Because that is where the 1 would be, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, so don't get too wrapped up in that right now. So as we move on today, your job with your work is going to be talking about what a fraction is, identifying some fractions, and also identifying different kinds of fractions in your work today. So remember, a fraction is a way to describe a part of a whole or a part of a group by using equal parts. Good luck today, third graders.